So, welcome to Unleashing Kingdom Voices podcast. So glad you're listening or you're here live. This episode brought to you by Daily Pay Revival. Revive your mind, revive your finances. Details in the show notes. So, I am so excited. It's like I get to add my friends to my podcast. Returning once again, Michelle Tufford. Hey, Michelle, so great to have you.
Hello, Theresa. Thank you for having me. Always love
Yeah.
our conversations together.
One thing I find about Michelle, she's not only a freaky good businesswoman, okay? We'll have to get the name of your group. But listen, Michelle's not afraid to look in the camera and say, we love Jesus in regards with business. Now
Mhm.
we're gonna talk about business, but we're gonna talk about speaking. Michelle and myself, we just came back from Los Angeles for the Radiant Speaker Academy. And Michelle, there's always so many people that I meet or that I come across in even other masterminds. So like, how do you find a stage? Do you
Mhm.
find that with your group and with your contacts? They're looking
Ye-
for, yeah,
Yes. Yes. That does definitely come up,
yeah.
right? Yeah. I
Like
think
I
it's
heard, I heard a podcast with Michelle Schaefer. It was a Girl Power Alliance podcast, and she had this Shauna Evans, I think her name was. But I love what she said, and this might connect with someone, Michelle. She's like, "You be," and God put in you something to be at. And it was the same thing of my. What did you do as a child? She says. So I was chatty as a little girl. It's not surprising I'm using my voice now. So it's like maybe you're in something that's just easy, but God wants you to be who He made you to be in another business. But maybe you're called to speak. But tell them your story about you weren't sure to show up for the kingdom.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'll keep it short and sweet because it could be long. But I kind of felt that like pull to do the Kingdom Speaker Academy, which is interesting because I didn't like Teresa. You grew up knowing like I am supposed to speak. Like you're as a kid, even you're like standing up on apple cart
Yeah.
boxes and preaching to the birds, the bees, and the apple trees.
Yeah,
Like
come
that's
on, girl.
you, right? That wasn't me as a kid. I wasn't the one saying, pick me, let me speak, right? So the fact that I was even feeling kind of this stir to do this program,
Yeah.
I almost didn't do it because I just kept battling these lies in my mind that I don't have anything significant to share. Because when I think of speakers, I think of people who have some really like profound story, right? Like they've gone through something either really challenging in their life or some massive breakthrough story. Like, and then when I reflect back and I think of my life, I'm like, kind of boring. Like, I don't have anything exciting. Why would
That's
I
so
speak?
good.
So as I was debating this, I was wrestling with these thoughts, like maybe I don't have a story, right? So then I was like, maybe I shouldn't do Kingdom Speaker Academy. But then God came so
Mm.
clearly in my mind. I was driving home. I like remember like the spot I was at even very clearly in my mind, God said, it's not your story that I want
Wow.
you to tell.
It's so good.
It's mine. And that's when I just knew, like, okay, I just need to be obedient and that God will give me the words. Now, it was still a struggle. I still had to
Yeah.
wrestle things out with the Lord, but
You
I
were
just
challenged too by that verse that we overcome him by the blood
yeah,
of the Lamb and the word of our testimony.
yeah,
You say blood of
Revelation
the
12:11.
Lamb. Okay, that's a done deal. But then he adds and the word of your testimony.
Yeah, it's
That can go.
powerful. So powerful when we speak we speak with the words God gives us,
Yeah.
right? Whatever that is. For some of us, it's to tell the things we've gone through. It's to
Yeah.
tell the story of breakthrough. And for others, it's to tell, for me, it was to tell my story of coming to realize my value in Him,
That's
right?
so
Because
good.
there are other people who maybe struggle with feeling like they have anything significant to offer. So that was my story,
Yeah.
knowing there are others who maybe can relate with that. We
So
all have a story, right?
yeah,
Because God has deposited things in our life and in our hearts,
so
and
good.
that's his story ultimately,
Yeah.
but that's ours too.
So Michelle and I were there. We were roommates, and I'll never forget. Just imagine this. It's the first night. Tomorrow's going to be the practice, and I go, Michelle, psst, come here, let's find out where the room's going to be. We thought we were going to be there 2 nights, so we found out. We go up there, and it's like this weird stage. And then I said, come on, let's practice. So I went up there first and practiced, and I got off that from practicing. I blanked out. I'm like, what did I say? So it was like so smart. And then she got up, and then Natalie got up. They were perfect. And I remember saying, guys, can I do it one more time? Because I thought I had it memorized. Oh, so I was so glad I didn't black out on the practice day. So then, wasn't that fun to just go ahead and find out where the stage was?
Yeah.
Really, though, that was just a practice where, because they gave us a huge setup with an awesome audience, stage, TVs. But what was that like your first night when we went up to that room and we're like practicing? How are you feeling at that time?
Yeah, it was really good. I'm really glad that we decided to do
Yeah.
that, because just having, you in the room, and Natalie, one of my dear friends, just being able to kind of break the ice. I think it
Yeah,
was just kind of
definitely.
allowing us to just,
Yeah,
okay, like, we were able to do it in a safe place where it was not
absolutely.
intimidating at all.
Yes.
But yeah, just kind of reality started to set in though, of like, oh, this is happening. We're
This
gonna
is
do this
happening.
thing.
I share these stories about the Kim 10 week of speaking week, so you can just put yourself there and you're not alone. We're being honest about how we felt. So you don't have to be polished and know there's a how many weeks online were we? 9 weeks online?
10 weeks
10
online.
weeks online where we're learning. Then we come to LA to actually perform. So the first day is a practice day, guys. And this is the most unbelievable, safest place to practice.
Mhm.
No, they don't want you to have notes, but that's a discipline in itself. And then you get up there and you give your speech, and you listen to the judges tell you that you're talking faster than Caroline Leaf. And it was like, yeah, but I'm so excited. So I would say I blew it the first day, in that
But
you would
no.
never know it, because they just loved on me. They told me, Theresa, we 1 minute you're saying something powerful, the next minute you're going off here. So it was good. I'm just saying, you
Mhm.
can blow it on the practice day. How did
Yeah.
you feel after your practice day?
Yeah, I felt really good after practice day. I think the feedback that they gave me was
Mm.
exactly what I needed. Because yeah, it's one thing to, we share things online. I am someone that does these types of things all the time, live
Yes.
interviews, going live on Facebook, all these things, but I don't get feedback. Most of us
Oh,
aren't in a position where we get someone who's
yeah.
actually giving you something, not just like, good job, great message, but
No.
like, no, real
Constructive.
feedback,
Yeah.
constructive, loving.
Mhm.
It's not to bring you down, it's actually to call you out, it's to call you higher, it's to recognize
Yes.
something inside you that maybe you don't see in
Yeah.
yourself. And so it was like an unlocking. Like, I felt like there were things in me that they were
Unleashed.
just unlocking as they were
Yes.
speaking, and it gave me permission to just
That's
show up
good.
more boldly, because the
Yeah.
feedback they gave me was that I have a tendency to kind of hold back. I naturally soft spoken, which
Yeah.
is a gift, right?
Right.
God gave me that gift, but it's
Right.
okay for that to
Wow.
the power to come out on occasion. So they were like calling that out of
I
me, which
love
I
that.
think was
Yeah.
really
I
good.
love that you said they gave you permission, because I remember after my first therapy session, she said, Theresa, why don't you bank 99 videos? And I'm like, you're giving me permission. So sometimes we just say, I don't know why, but it's a feeling like, you're giving me permission.
Mm,
Okay, I'll do that. So then we went into, so we had the practice day. And I'll just tell you, I got 30 minutes. I thought, they're going to coach me, I'm going to keep asking questions. I drained the four coaches, and they are just really empowering. And I know I recorded your feedback. My daughter recorded my feedback. But you know what? I got to tell you, I didn't listen to it. I had an idea, but I didn't want to change too much. I had an idea what they were saying, obviously slow down. Then we went to this beautiful church,
mm,
huge stage. They're recording us from 4 different angles, and we
yeah.
got to give our talk. And in the back of our minds, we want to be selected for the third day, which was an actual event to get
Mhm.
chosen. You only had to be chosen to go on that event. So, going into your final Kim 10, that second day, what was going through your mind?
I mean, there's an element of pressure because it's being
Mhm.
recorded and you have one take, so
Yes,
there was a little
nice.
bit of pressure. But going into it, I think because of the conversations that I had and the feedback from the coaches,
Mm.
and then the confirmation I got from the Lord that morning, I know I
Yes.
shared that with you,
Oh,
Theresa,
so
but
beautiful, Michelle.
yeah, in Isaiah 60, God actually highlighted to me the fact that the gift of me being tender and delivering a
Mm.
message from the heart. But then as I continued reading on in Isaiah, it was like to speak with like not be afraid to speak with power and to shout and
Oh,
to come from that place too. So it was really cool to have that confirmation from
oh,
God. So I was
so
walking into the second day with
yeah,
that knowledge that like God was giving me permission to just
so
be
good.
who he created me to
Mm.
be and not hold back. And so I felt like I was able to come with more boldness that second day.
And she did.
And it felt good. It felt good. So
Those of you on the podcast, you can't see me. I can't wipe the grin off. And I'm a little hyper because I'm remembering that those days were just like, they were epic for me. I was like, oh, I get to speak again tomorrow. So when we were practicing, I want to tell you something. When we were practicing, it wasn't prophetic, it was just a fact. I looked at you after you came off the stage, you're going to get picked, girl. I know you're going to get picked. So when we were receiving our certificates, oh, by the way, my second day was interesting. I decided to have those headphones and it kept coming off. But I was like, I'm determined not to let this bother me. So if
you
you've ever
did
watched my video, I'll
so
put it on.
well.
I'm constantly putting my headphone back on. And I had something that never happened to me. If any speaker coaches out here, halfway through, my mouth went solid dry. I can recognize it when I watch the video because I know I'm thinking, I'm just like, get it through. Where did this come from? I'm thinking. And then I had a phone in my pocket as a prop. And all of a sudden I hear this ding ding, but no one else could hear it. But it made me smile because that was my coach, my speaker coach. And she was like checking in, Alana. And I'm like, but my mouth went dry. I don't know if anyone's a coach and you're watching this live or recorded or on my podcast. What did I do to make my mouth go dry? Anyway, so I'm just letting you share this because I want you to know, imagine yourself listening and watching that, what this is like and how I don't want to say simple, but how fun and the challenge it can be. So then we're getting our certificates. Michelle, she did just, I wish I could show the move, jumped up on the stage, literally, and Iron Woman, and they gave her a certificate. And she was going to get a picture, and Michelle, you're chosen for tomorrow. And I'm like, yes. I'm like,
I was
yeah.
shocked. I
Oh
was
no.
literally shocked.
I was like, yeah, I told you so. So then when I came up for my certificate, it was like they weren't saying anything. I was like, well, maybe I didn't get it. And I'm going to it, I'm taking my picture. And then finally, it was kind of like they were
They
delaying it.
stalled on
They
purpose. They were
stalled on
like,
purpose,
"Let's
I
you
know.
hang in."
And then,
We all knew you were
yeah,
gonna
and
get
then they
chosen.
said, and Theresa, you're invited. And I'm like, you should have seen me. I mean, I have it on
Oh,
video somewhere. I'm like, yeah, and I do a little dance.
it got me all
Theresa,
emotional. I'm
the
like,
reason
"Yes."
being, it's not like we wanted to be, it's like, yeah, we wanted to be on stage, with people, but it was just like anytime you get a chance to be on stage, you want to take it. If you're beginning speaking, don't expect you to get paid. Go to those free places and bring a videographer or hire a videographer because you're building content, you're building experience. And the final day, Michelle, I felt so at home. I mean, I had my hand in my
You looked
pocket,
at home.
and
You were
when I
made for that
slowed
stage.
down, and this is the difference. We got feedback, and that's really true. As a speaker, you do feed off the feedback,
Yeah.
and I got Michelle's friend was. I just fed off that feedback. What was it like for you? I mean, were you relaxed because hey, we already were certified. This is just like an extra. How did you feel on that final day?
I mean, there's definitely nerves because of the audience,
Yeah,
right? Like this live
audience.
event, we're sharing the stage with some really big names in the
Yes,
industry,
story.
which in and of itself was just so humbling.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, I was just in awe that I'm even on this stage having an
yeah.
opportunity.
So cool.
But yeah, there was definitely some nerves.
And she aced it. She aced it. Let me tell you.
Thank you.
She and
Thank you.
Natalie, our roommates, all three of our roommates, we all made it. And
We did.
Natalie rocked it. Michelle rocked it. And I just had flipping fun. That's all I can
It
tell
was
you. So we're talking about this. And from what I understand, this is Kingdom Alliance speaker. It's part of Kingdom Alliance. Some of you may know it as Girl Power Alliance. But from what I understand, they're going to kick one off in September because of summer. But this is what we want you to do. There are classes. I'm going to tell you about a few of them. The Confident Speaker, I took that one. I think it's with Lisa. So you can go through these classes over the summer while you're waiting for September. Master communication. Whoa. And then I think signature soundbite method.
Mhm.
I actually haven't heard that one. I don't remember it. I got to go back and listen to
Yeah,
it.
that
What?
one, they kind of teach you how to put things together in like 30, 60, 90-second increments, which is amazing, especially if you are
Reels.
creating content online with
Yeah.
Reels, right?
Okay. What
Being
are
able
the
to
other
make
two?
those. The
Present
yeah,
like a
we
pro.
present like a pro, right? That's a
Yeah.
really good one. Yeah, you think you said confident. Did you say confidence on camera?
Confidence on camera. Yeah. So one thing I'd like to just encourage you, that's a stage, but your stage may be like Michelle. Every day she goes on and they're waiting for us because I told them we'd be there at 2:40. Every day she goes on stage with her group. You can go on stage live on Instagram. I dare you.
Mm,
You may be terrible, cruddy, but you got to learn somehow. Go live on YouTube. Tell your story. A story wins it all the time.
yeah.
And we're really inside Kingdom Alliance, just so you know, we're really challenged to tell stories because they've introduced, I'm not going to talk about it in detail, but they introduced another way for us to earn income speaking, looking into a camera. So there's a lot here. Yeah, you want to find stages. Yeah, you wouldn't mind waiting till September to go through those classes. So what would be the best way? Just contact us, or what would you suggest?
Yeah, I think definitely reaching out. I think you're catching this obviously with Theresa. Reach out to Theresa and we can get you more information. I honestly think going through over the next couple of months, because September is going to come real
Yeah,
fast. The summer is
real.
going to fly by. But I
Yeah.
think getting in and going through some of the courses leading up to Keynote Speaker Academy, you'll
Ooh,
be better equipped to step in and really take full advantage of the 10 weeks because I
yes.
mean there's a lot that we unpack in 10 weeks. So if you
Oh,
can come
yeah.
in a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more prepared, you're going to get a lot more out of the 10 weeks.
Yeah.
So I would say come in now, go through those five programs that we talked about. There are courses within our mentorship program that you can come go through, get
Yes.
equipped so that
Mhm.
by September you're ready to rock with us and to dive deep into the Keynote Speaker Academy.
I just think it's an opportunity. I told Michelle this, or I emailed her. Someone was trying to help me last November and December get on a TEDx stage. I mean, he met with me. He wanted to get my friend Alana on, and there just something stopped me. And then I did find out that TEDx stages do not let you really share your faith. KIM 10 stands for Kingdom Impact Message. So you have the freedom to bring in God, like Michelle's and Natalie, they're sharing Bible verses. Mine may not be sharing Bible verses, but sharing principles on how to win the war on your voice. And that's it. How do you win the war? How do you win the war to get up on stage? And I think that being, you have to realize that God lined in your DNA. And you know what, Michelle? Like you had a hesitancy, but I know there are many people listening, many women listening. They know that God called them, but they've either buried it down with doubt or the imposter syndrome, who me, or they're in the midst of a maybe relational thing that's holding them back. I understand that. We both understand that.
Yeah.
But we do know that as you really find what God's put in you, your being from when you were born, like even in your mother's womb, it's like, okay, I've got a speaker in here. I wonder when he did, oh, she's going to stand on apple carts and then go to apple stages. You know, I mean, that's just God.
Yeah.
So we really want to encourage you to join, find out now and get a head start.
Yeah.
And by the way, you not only will get those amazing speaker coaches that you'll get contact with Michelle and me, but you'll get other really good community. Sometimes, I mean, I think sometimes we just join for community. Yeah, there's master classes, but yet when it's all said and done, this is mentorship. Why don't you share a little bit about the mentorship in Kingdom Alliance?
You bet. Yeah. So we're not just a program that you come go through courses kind of by yourself, which you can, but we recommend that you really
I do
press
that
into
sometimes.
the actual mentorship side of what we do and get yourself plugged into the live calls.
Yeah.
We also hear, with Theresa and myself, we have some additional kind of mentorship and things that we
Yeah.
do with our community. Theresa and I have actually been talking to of actually running like a special group just for people who feel called to speak. So stay
Yes.
tuned for that, because we're going to be talking more details what that's going to
Yeah.
look like. But really creating this culture of community and of really coming alongside you and really helping you kind of pull that out. Because sometimes you just
Yes.
need a community that you can talk through some things.
Yeah.
What's holding you back? What are some of the lies of the enemy that's flooding your mind? What if you could come into community and have people speak life over you and remind you who
Sure.
you are?
Hmm.
Because that ultimately is kind of the most valuable piece of all of this. The fact that, we went to Kingdom Speaker Academy. I didn't go by myself. Like, I went with Theresa, so my best
So
best friend,
good.
Natalie
Yeah.
Lesson. Like the conversations that we have in private settings
The
of our
camaraderie.
virtual realm are
Oh,
some of the most powerful
yeah.
opportunities for growth.
Yeah.
And being in community is one of the most powerful things, in my
Yeah.
opinion, to the growth that we see here.
Yeah. I spoke on that, and I got to say, getting to know you even better, and Natalie was Sunday night. I missed you guys so bad, but God always reminds me, when you miss someone, you miss the Jesus in them. So I was missing a lot of Jesus in you guys, but sometimes, like, I'm just going to end it with this little that was part of my talk, but about how you have to fight for your friends and fight for kingdom, and you might have to invest in those things to get them. But there's this hormone that serves as a neurotransmitter. It's called oxytocin, not oxycontin. Come on back. Oxytocin. And what that's in the context of relationship, that produces empathy, uh, trust, and bonding. If you're low on that, you're kind of isolated because you're afraid, or you just don't want to do that because you're afraid. Oh, they're not gonna like me. If you're low on oxytocin, there are serious health problems that can come. You could have high blood pressure, heart disease, and a weakened immune system, not to mention anxiety, depression, and loneliness. That's proven studies. I know that because I was oxytocin deprived all through my marriage, which is another story. But my heart has come alive. I remember almost a year ago when Michelle was on stage at the conference, God says, those are the people I want you aligned to. Kingdom women who love Jesus. Michelle Shaver. Now that's a leader I want you to be. So God spoke to me. And in the process of this, there was a Kingdom Speaker Academy. So for the very first time, I got to speak on stage last year. It was terrible. I threw up on stage. But so then to come back and be double certified, it was really to be certified for the first time, because the last time was. So I'm just saying all that to really speak to you and encourage you, whether you're listening or not, or just kind of daydreaming. Come back, come back. God's called you as a speaker.
Yeah.
Look at Michelle. She went over the, I don't have anything to speak. You may be saying that. But I love that verse. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
any final thoughts of encouraging people, Michelle?
Yeah, I mean, I think you really hit it. And I think, like, the fact that we can overcome the enemy by the blood of the lamb, that, and I mean,
Mm,
I'm still like blown away that there's even an and in
and
that
after
sentence, for the
that,
blood of the lamb, word of testimony, that there's so much fear attached to it, of speaking. But that's
mm,
why, because the enemy knows exactly the impact that you can have when
exactly.
you speak. And so to be intentional, to fight against what the enemy is trying to hold you back from, that's one of the best things that you can do to help
Mm,
really move the kingdom forward, is just to continue to fight against what the enemy is trying to hold you back from. So if you feel any resistance, that's a good indicator to press into it. Like, just bulldoze right into it and say, you know what? Like, I'm feeling resistance here and it's not of God, so I'm just going to press in.
oh,
So if
so
that's
good.
you, press in, figure
Yeah,
it out, be intentional, surround yourself with the people who are going to help equip you.
yeah. So if you want to find Michelle Tufford's group, I think the best way is to find her on her profile, Michelle Tufford, then look on the left and click on that group and ask to join that group. That's where we're going to be. That's where I'm going to be. I'll be a little bit on my profile, but I've just been loving hanging out with this group. What is it, 23K now?
Yeah,
Or is it
we're
24?
yeah, right up
And you're
there.
just around women that love, that are really freaky good in their business. And you find speakers and you find all sorts of encouragement. And then you'll find, yeah, we'll have avenues to get into Kingdom Alliance, but Michelle puts on her own amazing training of connecting, helping you connect. So, Michelle, I think it's time to go over to your group. They're waiting for
All
us.
right, let's do it.
And
Thanks for
man,
having me.
I appreciate you. I miss you so much. I mean, it's just wow, that was an epic time, and to spend it with you and the way you guys loved on my daughter, so good. So thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, this is Unleashing Kingdom Voices. We're so glad you're listening. Hey, stay tuned. We'll continue to unleash your voice, and maybe you will be a speaker.